What's going on, everyone? So we are approaching the end of the Lauri Markkanen saga. So based on reports that have came out, Lauri Markkanen doesn't necessarily want to be traded by the Utah Jazz, and it is expected that he is going to sign an extension after August 6th. And the reason that August 6th is so important is because if he signs an extension on or before August 6th, then Lauri Markkanen can still be traded by the trade deadline this year, which means a team, even if they don't get him right now, could potentially get him come the trade deadline. If he signs it August 7th or beyond, then he's basically locked in as a Utah Jazz for at least this season. And once his new contract kicks in, the likelihood of Utah trading him goes down significantly. Right? Because the reason a lot of teams are lining up to trade for him right now, and even then, the market's been very thin, but the teams that have is because he's so cheap. You don't have to sell the farm to go get him outside of picks and stuff. Most teams have a player that's similar salary-wise, or maybe two at most, that you can line up to go and get Lauri Markkanen, and then you give up the picks, right? So Utah is going to have a real decision on their hands as well, because if Danny Ainge doesn't see Lauri Markkanen as a long-term, prospect for them, and it doesn't look at him as a guy that they want to continue to build their team around, he is 27. He's not getting younger, right? So do they look at it and go, hey, we really need to move this guy? Now, the Golden State Warriors are the team that has been most active in trying to acquire Lauri Markkanen. The Golden State Warriors have basically not budged as far as their offer, which is Moses Moody and a pick-heavy package. But the Utah Jazz, they want a Jonathan Kuminga, or they want a pod and picks, right? But if Golden State doesn't relinquish and doesn't say, okay, fine, we'll give you what you want, does Utah pivot elsewhere? Right? The San Antonio Spurs is another name that's been thrown out there. They supposedly offered Keldon Johnson and draft picks. Right? Again, does Utah want Keldon Johnson? A team that could potentially come out of the woodworks that is interested in Lauri Markkanen and has been linked to Lauri Markkanen, although we don't know if they've made any offers or anything like that, is the Los Angeles Lakers. Right? I mean, this is a Laker channel, so let's talk about it. Now, I think it is very unlikely, but if Golden State won't budge and San Antonio bows out and Utah's like, hey, we're going to have to give him $40+ million a year. Do we really want to do that? Do we really want to keep him long-term? Is he really a piece for our future? And now we get in a position to where it becomes a lot harder to trade him, right? And teams aren't going to be willing to sell the way that they are now to go get him. And, I mean, look, Utah could potentially be stuck with him. At $18 million, he's a steal, right? And a lot of teams are looking at it as, if we get him at that price, we basically get to keep the main core of our roster. And, yeah, we'd give him a new contract, but, we basically would keep the main pieces we need, rather than at $40 million, you're giving up multiple guys, probably rotation pieces, probably starting level, just everything changes. So the Lakers, bare minimum, you're probably looking at Austin Reeves. Now, the Lakers have been very reluctant to trade Austin Reeves and won't trade Austin Reeves unless it's for an all-star level, bona fide all-star level talent. I mean, Lauri Markkanen qualifies, right? Lauri Markkanen is an all-star level guy. Lauri Markkanen is a guy that would make the Lakers better. And there is a genuine argument to trade Austin Reeves for Lauri Markkanen, right? Do you do something where you're flipping Reeves and, you'd have to throw in a young guy or two. So maybe it's Reeves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and then a Christian Wood or something like that. I think that gets you pretty close, right, to what you need as far as Lauri Markkanen. Or maybe you're working something out where you're getting can you get a Walker Kessler or a Colin Sexton or something like that? Maybe you're trading Rui and Reeves and whatever else, and maybe you're keeping D'Lo. Right? I mean, you'd have options there. You'd have flexibility, but you'd have to give up Austin Reeves if you wanted to really, really have a chance at Lauri Markkanen. Now, look, Danny Ainge is also on record saying that he believes that the Lakers draft picks are the best on the market. Danny Ainge believes that when LeBron James and Anthony Davis leave and they ride off into the sunset, the Lakers are going to be terrible. And that's a very real possibility, right? So he was the one that bailed us out on the Russell Westbrook trade, and he did it for a protected first by the Lakers, right? So one, you could lift the protections on that 27th pick. You give up 2029, 2031 pick, and Austin Reeves, and that should be enough to get you Lauri Markkanen, right? Now you'd still have some pick swaps. You'd have, ideally in a perfect world, you keep a first. You go, hey, we'll give you Austin Reeves. We'll give you a first and maybe 2 pick swaps, right? Like instead of that, and we'll relinquish the protections, because then you could go and unless you get if you could get a Walker Kessler in the deal, I'd basically give up whatever you want. Like if you get Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler, basically take it all. But can you convince them of hey, Utah or the Golden State Warriors, they don't want to give up what they need to give up. San Antonio, do you really want Keldon Johnson? We're willing to give you Austin Reeves. We'll relinquish the protection, so you'll get the protection lifted on the 2027 pick. We'll give you the 2029 first, and we'll give you 2 pick swaps. Right? There you go. And you get Austin Reeves and whatever else you want. Give up what you got to give up. Go get him. The reason I'd want to keep a first is so that way you could get Lauri Markkanen in a Laker jersey, but then you could also go make a move for something else, right? So build a package around Austin Reeves, and then to me, go and turn Lauri Markkanen, turn other pieces such as maybe D'Angelo Russell, or maybe you're keeping D'Lo, maybe you're turning Rui in something, right? Do you still go maybe get Jeremy Grant, right? Gives you options and possibilities that, could potentially make some sense in upgrading the roster, right? I don't hate the idea, right? Obviously, everything has a price, right? If they want basically everything in the kitchen sink, personally, I wouldn't do it. Just tell Danny Ainge, hey, you know what? Just keep him, pay him the $40 million plus, because you got to understand, there's a lot of concerns with Lauri Markkanen, right? One, can he stay healthy? I mean, the guy can't play more than 60 games a season, and that's really a concern, especially when you're paying him $40 plus million, right? Now you're paying him to be one of your most dependable, one of your best reliable guys. You're paying him as, a franchise cornerstone. Last year, he played 55 games. The year before that, he played 66. The year before that, he played 61. Then he played 51, 50, 52. The most games he has ever played in his career is his rookie season, in which he played 68 games. Right? People talk about Zach LaVine and the concerns with Zach LaVine. I mean, Lauri Markkanen has a lot of the same concerns. Starting next year, he's going to be on a very hefty contract that'll also be affected by the new TV deals, right? Where you got to keep in mind, Zach LaVine is a guy that is pre that TV deal. So Markkanen's contract's going to be pretty hefty, right? I mean, it depends on when he signs it, but it's usually a percentage, right? So you're going to have that. Then on top of that, it's just the injuries. Can he stay healthy? Because if you're paying him $40 million and he's only playing 60 games a season, that's not good, right? That's not good at all. Now, the difference you can make right now compared to Zach LaVine is that, Lauri Markkanen, you wouldn't have to trade basically everything in the kitchen sink to get Lauri Markkanen, right? You could just trade for him. You could swap D'Lo for him right now if you wanted to. Utah's not going to do that, but you basically could. You wouldn't have to trade every player on your roster like you would to go get Zach LaVine. That's a little exaggerated. You'd only have to trade 3 guys, but get the point, right? It's easier to get to the salary of Lauri Markkanen than it is Zach LaVine, right? But it is a concern. And is Lauri Markkanen and Anthony Davis your 2 guys going forward to win a championship post LeBron James, right? That's another question you have to ask, right? Because again, on the surface, Lauri Markkanen, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, those 3 combined is tough, right? Especially if you can keep like a D'Lo, and now you got your playmaker point guard. Defensively is a concern, right? I mean, with D'Lo, Markkanen, and LeBron, defensively you're pretty rough, right? But at that point, I would throw Jared Vanderbilt in the lineup and just kind of go positionless, quote unquote, right? And just like have Markkanen at the 3 on defense, with LeBron playing the scout role at the 4, and then AD at the 5 with Vando kind of at the 2 on the defense side, just basically patrolling and defending the perimeter. And then on offense, you could slot LeBron as the point if you wanted to, or slot him as the 2 if you wanted to, quote unquote, right? Just for position's sake on the name of the box score, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying you have to Vando as like your 2 guard. No, it's just you're basically going positionless. But for the box score, you gotta have guys slot up at positions, right? So you could do something where it's like LeBron at the point, D'Lo at the 2, Vando at the 3, Markkanen at the 4, AD at the 5. Like, because you have more than enough shooting and firepower at that point that Vando, you can kind of get away with an offset. I would just worry about the defense side of things, right? But again, maybe you go pull off some other deal. That's why I'd like to ideally keep a first, right? And if Utah's not willing to do that, then don't make the trade. You don't have to do the trade. Utah, keep them. Danny, keep them. And then when you can't trade them, life sucks, right? Like, that would kind of be my thoughts on it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, yes, go trade for Lauri Markkanen, kind of take advantage of while people aren't, while everyone's kind of stumbling over themselves to swoop in and steal us a Lauri Markkanen? Do you think no? Stay away from him. Not worth it. Not worth what you'd have to give up. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.